In times of universal deceit, truth is the only rebellion left.
Good morning and welcome to the Rebellion. Again, I appreciate all of you who are following. Thanks to the old folks that have been with us for a couple of years. Those of you who have supported the Rebellion over the course of that time, I'm very grateful to you. And welcome to the new followers of the Rebellion. Remember our tagline: in times of universal deceit, truth is the only rebellion left. If there's anything that's critical in our time, in our day, it's the pursuit of truth. We have to recognize that truth exists. Truth is the true north. It's the thing that judges the debate. Not you, not me, not power, not politics. It's about truth. Your opinion really doesn't matter at the end of the day. I'm fond of saying over and over again that the facts don't care about your feelings. That's a quote of Ben Shapiro. But let's do the Piper paraphrase. I don't really care what your opinion is. Your opinion doesn't matter at the end of the debate, at the end of the conversation. My opinion doesn't matter at the end of the debate. What matters is truth. Truth judges the debate. Good education, the best education, pursues the truth. It doesn't rest easily satisfied, to quote C.S. Lewis, in opinions. Opinions are dangerous. They always lead to bondage and slavery. Jesus said, the truth shall set you free. You shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. That used to be the motto for dozens of colleges and universities across the Western world. The words of Christ: you shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. Why? Because truth liberates, thus the Liberal Arts Academy, a liberated people. A liberal education was for educating a free society, a free man, a free woman, a free culture, a free church, a free country, a free government. It was an education in liberty. Thus the words of Jesus: you shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. It wasn't an education in opinions. You didn't major in opinions. That would be absurd. You didn't go to college and you didn't go to the university to get a degree in opinions. Because, like I just said, opinions are dangerous. Pol Pot had an opinion and Mao had an opinion. Robespierre and Chavez and Hitler and Mussolini all had opinions, and it didn't end very well. Because opinions will always be used by the powerful to oppress those that they want to have power over. So in times of universal deceit, which we surely live in today, when you can't even tell me what a man or a woman is, when you are trying to transition children who are younger than 10 years of age and amputate functioning organs from them and claim that that's a moral good, then we obviously have lost any semblance of what the truth is in our culture. And we're butchering children in the name of opinions. We're taking the rights and privileges and bathrooms and scholarships away from women in the name of opinions. Opinions are leading to more and more bondage and more regulation, more and more oppression. A quote that I've used over and over again previously on the Rebellion and in my speaking and in my writing is a quote from, or a paraphrase, I should say, from G.K. Chesterton. Again, it's the Piper paraphrase. Chesterton said that when you get rid of the big laws of God, you don't get liberty. You'll get thousands and thousands of little laws that rush in to fill the vacuum. I'll say that one more time. When you get rid of the big laws of God, you don't get liberty. You'll get thousands and thousands of little laws that rush in to fill the vacuum. And that's what you're seeing today in our culture. You're seeing thousands and thousands of little laws rushing in from the halls of Washington, D.C. to fill the vacuum that's been created because we as a culture refuse to live by the 10 simple laws that God gave us. Just 10. Just 10. And frankly, Jesus summarized those 10 in 2. So we, as a people, refuse to live by 10 or 2 laws that have been given to us by God, revealed to us in the Scripture, the Word of God. We refuse to live within the freedom of those 10 simple laws. And what do we get? We get the elites, the oligarchs, the know-it-alls in Washington, D.C., creating reams upon reams upon reams of little laws that rush in to fill the vacuum. And thus we lose our freedom, down to the point where they're now telling us how to use the bathroom and what pronouns to use. That is not freedom. That's ideological fascism, people. It's the fascist. I've told you before in previous shows. The word fascism, and people don't even know what fascism is anymore. I get so tired of the left lecturing us on fascism, they don't even know what it is. The word fascism is derived from the word fascist. Now, if you've been watching the rebellion, you can pass this quiz. What is a fasciste? Well, a fasciste was a Roman bundle of sticks that was bound together so tightly that it couldn't be broken. So just imagine a couple hundred twigs that you collect like this, and then you bind them together with twine. Can you break that collection, that fasciste of twigs? No, you can't break it because it's so strong because of the common bond. So the fasciste had a positive representation, and that is we will come together in commonality as a culture and we cannot be broken. But the negative part of the fascist is where we get the word fascism. And that is this: if you're not one of us, if you're not part of us, if you don't look like us and act like us and talk like us and walk like us, if you don't vote like us, if you don't parrot the same educational nonsense that we do, we will crush you. The group will crush the dissenter. And the person who dares to raise his hand and say, wait a second, the emperor is naked, he has no clothes, we will crush that person who dissents through the power of the fascist. That's fascism. So when I give you that description of what fascism is, stop and think about what's going on in our political debate today. Who is the fascist? Who is the fascist? Who is employing the overwhelming authority of the fascist to crush you if you disagree? If you disagree about vaccinations, if you disagree about wearing a mask, if you disagree about distancing, if you disagree about whether churches should be open or churches should be closed, I should say, while the liquor store is open. If you raise your hand and say, this doesn't make any sense, they crush you with the power of the fascist. They're ideological fascists. If you don't agree with their ideas, they will silence you. Cancel culture, censorship, Facebook and Twitter, canceling people who were saying things that the government didn't like. This is all part of the ideological fascism that we're all suffering today in our culture. So the rebellion is about challenging that. In times of universal deceit, in times where the fascist of a deception, where everybody's lying, you have lie after lie after lie, and those lies are bound together. They're bound together in commonality. And if anybody dares to say, that doesn't sound like it's true, it doesn't sound to me like it's true that a man can pretend to be a woman and be honored for doing so. That doesn't make any sense. How can you be a feminist if you deny the female? How can you claim to be a feminist if you deny the feminine? You can't. That's the irony today, people. You and I are more classically liberal. You're the classical feminist because you believe in the female. You're going to defend the woman's right to have her own bathroom and her own shower in her own private space. You're going to defend the woman's right to have her identity not stolen, appropriated by somebody who wants to play dress up and make believe. You're going to say, wait a second, that man, that dude is not a woman, and he has no right on the athletic field, and he has no right in a female's shower or bathroom or any place else that's been reserved specifically for women. When I was president of Oklahoma Wesleyan University, I had to sue the Obama administration because they sent me a letter saying that effective immediately, I had to start providing transgender accommodations on my campus. And I said, no, I'm not going to do that. We sent them a letter and we told them no. Now, we legalized it up a little bit, but essentially it said this: no, go pound sand. We're not going to take women's dorms and give them to men. We're not going to take women's sports and give them to guys. We're not going to act like a guy can pretend to be a woman or a woman can pretend to be a man. We believe in pursuing the truth. And what you're trying to get us to do, Obama administration, is to agree with your lies. And we refuse to do that. In times of universal deceit, which you're surely guilty of right now, truth is the only rebellion left. And we rebel. We say no. I had to do that in the face of the Obama administration. We had to sue the Obama administration because they required us to include abortifacient drugs in our health care. I said, no, We're not going to do that. We're a pro-life institution. We're going to stand with the Little Sisters of the Poor, a Catholic order of nuns who was likewise being forced by the Obama administration to include abortion in its healthcare package, which is asinine. It's crazy to make a bunch of nuns do that. They're nuns. They're Catholic. By definition, they're celibate. They don't need any contraception in their healthcare package, let alone that which induces abortion. It's crazy for anybody to tell them that they have to include something in their healthcare that they don't want, they'll never use, and that they find to be morally abhorrent. It's their business what they want in their healthcare. It's the woman's right to choose what she wants in her healthcare, and you, the government official, has no right to take that choice away from her. We stood with the Little Sisters of the Poor as a co-litigant, challenging that stupid law. And we went all the way to the Supreme Court with the Little Sisters, and we won. We prevailed because of common sense. We won and we prevailed because Donald Trump won his first election. That's why. That's why. Because the thing got thrown out. It's a long story, but Anthony Scalia died days before we got to the Supreme Court. So the vote was a tie. It was 4-4 because there were only 8 judges. As the result of that, the thing was stymied for a bit. This isn't legal language, it's my language. The thing was stymied until Donald Trump got into office, and then it went away. It's crazy what we're dealing with in today's culture. I had to sue the Obama administration for those 2 things. Abortifacient drug mandates, because Oklahoma Wesleyan is a pro-life institution. By definition, all of our employees had to be pro-life or I wouldn't have hired them. We don't need or want abortion-inducing drugs or services in our healthcare. And we should have the right to choose to not include those things, especially the women at our institution shouldn't be forced to pay for things, to include things in our healthcare package that they don't want, and that by definition, the institution they're working for does not believe in, nor do they as individuals. This is crazy. We live in times of universal deceit. We live in times of lies. We live when the ideological fasciste of deception is being used to silence us, to cancel us, to censor us, to put us down and keep us quiet. The only rebellion we have is truth. Truth with a capital T. Another quote that I've used repeatedly in my writing, speaking, and on this show is from Os Guinness. He says this in his little book, A Time for Truth. Truth is true even if no one believes it, and falsehood is false even if everyone believes it. Truth is true, and that's just the end of it. One more time. That one's worth the price of admission today. Truth is true even if no one believes it, and falsehood is false even if everyone believes it. Truth is true, and that's just the end of it. What's his point? Truth is true, period, end of it. It is not subject to your opinion. It does not bow at the altar of feelings. The facts of truth don't care about your feelings. Your opinions don't trump the truth. If we want to have an argument and a debate, truth has to be the judge. Not you, not me, not politics, not power. Not the preacher, not the professor, not the politician. Not the president of the United States. Truth is true. It has to be the true north. It has to be outside the thing that you're evaluating. When I was on the Dave Rubin show and the Adam Carolla show a number of years ago, talking about my Not a Daycare commentary in my book, where I was challenging cancel culture and the snowflake rebellion of the universities right now, where everybody's whining and complaining because they don't like an idea. I don't care whether you like the idea or not. What I care about is whether the idea is true. And if it's true, you need to figure out what to do about it, whether you're going to embrace it and live by it. And if it's false, let's discard it as a lie and admit it, label it as a lie and move on. Don't even entertain it. Isn't that what education is supposed to be about? Isn't that what liberal arts education should hold up as its ideal? Well, that's lost. The ivory tower in the United States has become the Tower of Babel because all we do is babble about our opinions, our feelings, our emotions. You need to affirm me even though I'm wrong. Tolerance, even though their tolerance is self-refuting, because they'll say straight-faced, as if they don't even recognize the duplicity of what they're saying, that they can't tolerate your intolerance. Crazy. or they hate hateful people. They're sure that nothing is sure. They know that nothing can be known, and they're absolutely confident there are no absolutes. It's nonsense, literal nonsense, which is one of the reasons that Donald Trump's administration is going to be so refreshing. Because even though I disagree with Donald Trump on a lot of stuff, I don't agree with him morally on some of the things that he obviously does not consider to be wrong. Read his books. He's making it very clear that he doesn't necessarily hold a high view of a sexual ethic. I mean, and if you're a Trumper and you upset because I said that, get over it. He has said that, he's admitted it. But even though I disagree with him, he still lets me live the way I want to live. In fact, he champions the way I want to live, and he wants the government out of my hair. That I can support, and that I can vote for, and that I did vote for. And I'm grateful to have a president who said in his inaugural address that this is a time of restoring common sense. Now, what is common sense? It's sense that is common. Okay? Common sense is sense that is common. Now, what does sense that is common imply? It implies natural law, that there are laws outside of ourselves that govern the environment, the reality, the ontological facts of how we exist, where we live, and what we are. You just can't make it up as you go. You have to attend to reality. Natural law would be the laws of nature and nature's God. Common sense, sense that's common, acknowledging there's a truth outside of ourselves that governs the debate. Okay? Sense outside of ourselves that's common, truth outside of you or me, your opinion or mine, that's common, that we can understand. Okay? The Apostle Paul refers to it in the book of Romans, the epistle to the Romans, as the truth of God written on every human heart, that we're without excuse. That truth, that common sense, that knowledge of the law, the natural law, the laws of nature and nature's God, that is written on every human heart. We all get it. We all understand it. We all know that lying is wrong, that cheating is wrong, and that murder is evil. We all know those things. We know that rape is evil, the Holocaust was an atrocity, and that antebellum slavery should be reviled. We know those things. Even the left should admit those things that I just said. Why? Because there's a measuring rod outside of those things being measured, to quote C.S. Lewis. There's common sense, sense that's common, that's outside your opinion or mine, beyond, bigger, better, and more permanent than your feelings, that judges the debate. We can appeal to that judge. We can appeal to the judge of the ages, the truth with a capital T, as we disagree with one another. And if you're listening to me right now and you disagree with what I'm saying, on what basis do you do so? On what basis would you possibly disagree with anything I've said for the last few minutes if you don't believe that there's a truth that trumps my opinion that you disagree with? And by virtue of appealing to that truth that you think should trump my opinion, you've just admitted that I'm right, that there is an objective truth. There is a truth of God written on every human heart, that there is a natural law, the laws of nature and nature's God, that there is sense and that sense is common. And thank the Lord that Donald Trump is championing a return to common sense, sense that's common, because the facts don't care about your feelings. Now, before we conclude the show, I want to remind you who our sponsor is. Our sponsor is an organization called Equipping the Persecuted. Equipping the Persecuted was founded a handful of years ago. And since its founding, it has reached out to persecuted Christians in Nigeria, and they have reached over 400,000 of those Christians with essential aid such as food and supplies and sanitary supplies, etc. They've also established schools and orphanages for children that are without parents. Why are they without parents? Because they've been killed. They've been killed. They've been butchered. And these poor children are left with nowhere to live, no school to attend, and no food. And Equipping the Persecuted goes into Nigeria and provides for these children. They also provide supplies, resources, housing, and monthly assistance to widows. Over 200 widows on a monthly basis are supported through Equipping the Persecuted. And why are these people widows? Why are these women widows? Because their husbands were pastors and they were martyred. They were killed for being Christians. But here's one thing that I think sets this organization out and above other organizations that serve the persecuted church. Equipping the Persecuted actually goes in and trains security teams in these villages. In other words, they go in and train the people and empower the people and equip the people to defend themselves. So they stop the killing before it happens. That is admirable, and that is needed. Why wait until people are dead? Why not teach these people and provide for these people so that they can secure their own villages, their own towns, their own homes, and stop the butchery before it happens? If you want to learn more about equipping the persecuted, go to Equipping the Persecuted. I'll say it one more time, equippingthepersecuted, one word, .org. That's equippingthepersecuted.org. Thanks again for listening today. I'm Dr. Everett Piper, and this is The Rebellion.